Hey, D-Nation, listen up. Big question. Maybe one of the most important questions in our lives. Ready? What are you so afraid of? It's easy to say, but we probably should talk about it just a little bit. Really, what are you so afraid of? We all have fears, right? We know that. Fear of failure, fear of being critiqued and not loved and not accepted. All kinds of fears, I know that, but the truth is, they're not nearly as well-founded, as justified, as rational as you think they are. They're not. They're mostly overblown, strange monsters under our beds that we have created for no good reason at all. I'm very much reminded when I think about this of the very famous Steve Jobs Stanford commencement speech. If you haven't seen it, go look it up. It's very popular for a reason. Interesting fellow, and he had some great thoughts on this after he was, well, for a while anyway, he was on the winning end of a battle with cancer, and it caused him to reflect on life and think, and he really encouraged everybody, connect the dots. Look, it's going to feel random, this thing called life, but when you look backwards and you say, how did these things relate, and what did they teach me as I move forward, you start to see threads and meaning. That's very, very important. Ultimately, he said 4 or 5 things I thought of interest. Ultimately, what he said is, you know what, we all live, we are all going to pass someday. We are. There's no getting around that. The real question is, are you using life as you see fit? Are you living fully? We all die, but do we all truly live? And the answer is no, and he knew this, and so he gave himself a litmus test in his last few years. Hey, when I'm looking in the mirror, do I think I have some passion, real interest in doing what it is I'm about to do today? And if the answer is no, then why am I doing it? I think that's a harsh, beautiful, and important test because our time, well, it is fleeting. And that's okay because it all comes to an end for every one of us, you and me included. But the real question's far more interesting. Hey, what are you afraid of? What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Things don't go well when you try stuff. Oh, you don't always look like a star. People don't always love you. Ladies and gentlemen, with respect, I say, get over that. Those are not worthwhile goals. They're not realistic. They are not what it means to breathe effectively and do something with your life. No, you're supposed to try stuff knowing it won't always work. Because why? That's a beautiful thing. That's the catalyst for learning, growth, and improvement, which means if you actually value success, you've got to really start by saying, well, I'm not worried anymore about failing because failing is a core part of what it means to get better. So the question is, what are you afraid of? Most of those fears are small, should be small, not large, because they're really not backed up by a whole lot other than moments of feeling weird, if you're smart, followed by learning something that moves you forward. Now, what's that worth? I think it's priceless. So maybe today, before you leave the house, look in that mirror and say, am I jacked up? Am I excited? Am I maybe even a little thrilled about going to do what I'm going to go do? Because the answer, if you're working hard, especially in the first third of your career, should be yes. Otherwise, what are you doing? Hey folks, what are you afraid of?